Hi, and welcome to the, to the station. Um, I said before, please like and subscribe. And the reason why people ask that or say that and stuff like that is because it gives them momentum to do more. And even though I'm doing this for myself, really, it's still nice to get something that gets appreciated every now and again. So that's really why I'm doing it. So your compliments in the last video really helped. So I want to talk about this guy here, and there's all this talk, since Henry Cavil appeared, just as the announcement of the cut of Zack Snyder's Justice League. And he appeared there, and he was always quiet, and there was always this debate about, is he coming back, is he getting a solo movie, where's Man of Steel 2 and stuff. And for me, when this film came out, the Man of Steel film, it prompted me to make one of the biggest Facebook page I've ever done. I got 150,000 likes and stuff like that. And I defended the film constantly for so many years, and all the rest of the movies after that, and the DCEU, which of course now closed down, because I'd rather just spend my time just letting my own personal thoughts and ideas out there. So, I've defended the guy, talking about why he's a superb Superman. Even John Campea made a film. I'll probably leave it in a link below this one on why he's in the descriptions, on why he thinks Man of Steel was the ultimate superhero movie. So I came across this article that really prompted me to make this video. What makes a good Superman? Recently, it was announced that Henry Cavil would be returning to the role of Superman in the future. Don't call us the DCEU, whatever that meant to me, what was that? Comic films, and that's great. I think he, like many Supermen before him, could make a great Man of Steel. I've given the right material. However, what exactly is the right material? Material that would make us forget the last decade of Superman films. There is nothing wrong with the last decade of Superman films. Even we can let slide Brandon Routh's one, which wasn't really his fault. He was made to do a film based on the Christopher Reeve legacy, and we've all moved on from that. Man of Steel film for me was closer to the comics, was closer to the character. People that didn't know that, didn't know the character, all they had to go on was some sort of childhood memory of the Christopher Reeve movies. But Superman's open for adaptation, just like any other comic character out there. Common wisdom seems to dictate that if we're looking for the right kind of Superman, Christopher Reeve is about as perfect as you can get. He was strong when others weren't. Kind when the world turned his back on him. When did the world turn his back on him, apart from that little moment where he was fighting with himself in a junkyard and he went bad and he got really a slap in the wrist? You didn't really deal with that. And had almost a puppy dog sense of loyalty towards doing the right thing and being pleasant to everyone. And that's great and makes for a great Superman, but just having a guy who's nice all the time about everything doesn't make for an interesting character. And that's why it's important to remember Christopher Reeve's most underrated talent when playing Superman, the ability to make the guy a charming little shit. See, Reeves' Superman was super wholesome, but he also had these moments where he'd be super cheeky and kind of amused at himself. Like, remember when he tricked Zod into thinking that his powers were taken away at the end of Superman 2 and kneeled for him only to surprise him by breaking his hand. Superman definitely did not need to do that. And suddenly, full-on torture. He doesn't exactly fit into rescue cats from the trees. Right, exactly. Playbook, but he did, because that's the use of being Superman. If you can't have a little fun with overconfident intergalactic warlords, and remember the end of Superman when he smiles at the camera in the film, that's a pretty awesome, right? display, or when he, as Clark Kent, got shot by a mugger and then smirked when he revealed he caught the bullet. Superman never really needs to be a jerk unless you're doing the classic Superman turns bad, but it's cool because he'll turn good again. By the end of Smallville episode move, but it's not a total reversal of character. If every once in a while he reveals that the whole thing when he's a tight wearing civil servant from an exploded planet that masquerades as a doofus reporter is pretty funny actually. That said, I think my favourite examples of Superman being a little camp is when he gets interviewed by Lois Lane on the veranda. She definitely could not afford a journalist's salary even in 78. Lane is feeling it, just level 10 Nicole Kidman and Batman Forever amounts. Gets ready down with a Justice League member. She asks Superman if he has a girlfriend and he replies, "No, I don't, but if Miss Lane, you'll be the first to know about it." Anyway, stuff like that goes a long way in making a character feel more well-rounded, especially if you're one with such a single-minded purpose as Superman. I'm not saying he needs to make canned in the armpit farts while Darkseid is preparing a monologue, but it definitely helps. I'm not going to even post that in the comment in the description section. That was a load of what cracked. That's from an article from Cracked. Seriously? What? So your idea of a character as being of a superhero is being a doofus, then turns into some sort of Boy Scout that thinks he's all it when he's Superman and really uses his X-rays to. Don't get me wrong, I like the Christopher Reeve movies, right? I did like the Christopher Reeve movies, but they're dated. That character belongs in the past. Whoever wrote this is stuck in the past. Read some Superman comics. Find out that Superman, the reason that Man of Steel made him more relatable is because he could cry. He was wronged. He's constantly fighting within himself. He's a guy that walks in a world full of cardboard. He's got to be careful with everything. There is a chance of romance isn't even on the cards. He's going to live longer than most people who falls in love with, a kind of Highlander complex. The world is not sort of kind to the guy, and yeah, he tries to be optimistic, but there has also got to be a dark side. We've also got to feel relatable with the guy. Otherwise, you're going to a picture hall and just seeing Mr. Goody Two Shoes, right? White guy. We're living in a world just now where everything's blooming dangerous to say either if make jokes about anything these days without some sort of society coming down on you. This is a guy who's who's in a world where every single movement he makes, everything he says gets criticised, and so that's the struggle we need to see. That's the struggle that makes him more relatable to us. This is the guy that, we need to feel that, because a lot of people say, oh, he's got too much superpowers, and I couldn't relate to the guy because, nothing's a problem to him. He doesn't know what the average guy in the street deals with on a day-to-day business. You think he's a god. Man of Steel puts that right. BVS puts that right. He's, Right, so what was the other article? Right, that peeved me off there. Here's Screen Rant, okay. Why Man of Steel 2 reportedly isn't a priority at Warner Brothers. One of the reasons why Man of Steel 2 reportedly isn't a priority at Warner Brothers is because of J.J. Abrams' Bad Robots deal with Warner Brothers. Here's why. Man of Steel reportedly isn't a priority at Warner Brothers, released back in 2013. Man of Steel kicked off what's known as the DC Extended Universe, introducing audiences to Henry Cavil Superman. Cavill reprised his role in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice and Justice League, but he hasn't appeared in DC movies since. This That could be changing, however, soon, as Cavil is said to be in talks for Superman Return as a cameo on an upcoming DC instalment. Cavill's Superman will, of course, be seen in Zack Snyder's Justice League HBO Max next year. If he'll take on a substantial role in a new project, specifically there are questions if a Man of Steel 2 will ever come into the fruition. But as of now, that movie is not in development. The reason for that allegedly has to do with Warner Brothers' new partnership with J.J. Abrams. Don't get me wrong, J.J. Abrams, he's okay, right? He's alright, apart from the fact that, I think I'm not totally blaming him for the destruction of Star Wars, okay? But he shouldn't have signed on. I would have got it out of there if I believed for 1 minute I was going to ruin a franchise by the studio's interference. And he did okay with the Star Trek movies, okay? But I'd rather Zack take the helm again and make some sort of Brainiac movie, as I've said in YouTube videos about a year ago or so. Where was I? According to Heroic, Man of Steel 2 hasn't moved forward. Pat Abrams' production company Bad Robot's $500 million deal with Warner Media that was finalised last year. Ever since then, there have been rumours of Abrams being involved with a new Superman movie. An insider explained to Heroic Hollywood how this affects Man of Steel 2. If you plan to interact on A-list filmmaker like J.J. Abrams to direct such a property like Superman, they're going to demand they cast who they want in that title role. It's important to keep in mind that this is a rumour for the time being and should be taken with a grain of salt, and it makes sense if Abrams comes up with an idea for a fresh take on Superman. Warner Brothers would likely let him work with the actors he wants through, though Matt Reeves, the Batman, the studio's already shown that they aren't going to force directors in the beholding of the DCU cast. J.K. Simmons played Commissioner Gordon, who I loved, who put a lot of energy and built himself up, and he had the look. But now you got to Matt Reeves, and of course we've got to keep up with the times and have everything black, right? Black Commissioner Gordon, which I've got no problems, but why? Seriously, why not go for the look of a character? See, like, if we want to be fair, why not have Black Lightning as a white man? Right, seriously. And but Jeffrey Wright takes over the role in Batman Warner Bros. Seems to have moved past trying to emulate the Marvel formula of a singular and connected shared universe. Instead, a focusing on crafting quality standalone movies. That means giving directors some semblance of creative freedom, which we've said all along. Right? Now, I'm going to come back to this. We'll decide they want to work with... Abrams could very well decide he wants to work with Cavill, considering he helms a Superman movie in the first place, but will have the option to go a different route. But before Warner Brothers moves full steam ahead on an entirely new version of Superman, they might want to wait and see what happens with Cavill's return. If it's well received, it could be used as a springboard to give Cavill a larger role in the DCU moving forward. Should that happen, then it's unlikely the studio would let Abrams recast the superhero. It's one thing to have Ben Affleck pop up in the Snyder Cut the same year the Batman hits theatres, but Warner Brothers would want to avoid dueling Superman on the big screen. That could be slightly confusing for general audience. Yeah, because we're all daft, we're all thick. Mind you, seeing some of the comments and tweets and questions that people don't seem to the idea that this could be a good thing, that we could have so many people playing a character, one character like Batman, Matt Reeves, and his wee universe, and have Ben Affleck as Batman in the Zack Snyder's universe, right? And keep them both separate, right? And that's more DC for all. Hey, right? But it's handled properly, since it's one of Warner Brothers' flagship properties. Superman isn't going to stay on the shelf forever, but time will tell who will play him. Right, now I want to move on to to something I spotted when I was making the Cyborg movie, and when I was making the Cyborg video. All right, I was scrolling down, and then this popped up. Hopefully it will pop up again. Where is it? And it's not. Ah, there it is. With the Snyder Cut, DC could beat Marvel to one major milestone. Right. What was once a dream is now reality. The Snyder Cut of 2017's Justice League is finally happening. The new HBO Max streaming service, owned by Warner Media Entertainment, will fund Zack Snyder's costly endeavour. The Snyder Cut will be released at some point in 2021, but how will it impact the DCEU moving forward? We will know that Ezra Miller's The Flash, right, because he was also planned to make a solo movie along with Cyborg, okay? We know that Ezra Miller's The Flash made a cameo in the Arrowverse crossover, and when that happened, we knew, because of Zack Snyder's creative, when he created that Flash, he was back in the universe, okay? That was his sign. Zack Snyder was back in the universe because he used his Flash, right? Crisis on Infinite Earths, confirming the existence of the DCU within the DC TV framework. With that in mind, the Snyder Cut could help the DCU beat Marvel to one major milestone by officially introducing the multiverse in the films. I've just seen the DC multiverse film. Not bad. Realising Snyder's version will reportedly cost upwards of $30 million or more for post-production, special effects, ADR and more. However, there's not been concrete answer regarding to the film's place in the DCU canon or how it could affect the rest of the DC slate of films. It's likely Snyder will rely on unused footage and deleted scenes to finish up his version of the film, but a new version of the Justice League story might impact the timelines for Shazam 2, The Suicide Squad, Black Adam and Aquaman 2, all of which take place after Joss Whedon's Justice League. It's possible that whatever new storylines evolve from the Snyder Cut will exist in separate continuity. Enter the Multiverse, introduced years ago in the Arrowverse, though is yet to be implemented in the DCU. The idea of parallel universes is not new to DC Comics. The entire premise of Crisis on Infinite Earths was to collapse the multiverse and make it so that only one Earth was left. Perhaps the 2017 version of Justice League could be confirmed as being Earth Prime, while the 2021 version of the movie will diverge into a new timeline or simply be explained. Populated the Flash movie. People are saying that the Flash movie could introduce, the Flashpoint storyline, which it will introduce a new way of going forward. The new Justice League could shake up the DCU's timeline. It's ultimately confirmed to be the primary and accepted vision moving forward, but that seems less likely given the sheer number of films already in production prior to the surprise Snyder Cut announcement. Either way, the Snyder Cut may ultimately lead the DCEU to explore the concept of a multiverse before the MCU. And that's what we're talking about. Okay, now back to Superman, because this video is going way long. Bring back the DCU, bring back Cavill Superman. If you want to make another Superman, on you go. But we can have our own great DC universe on Max. And what we need to do to confirm that that's the direction and to get Superman back into making more Henry Cavil Superman is we've got to support this movie. Right? We've got to support HBO Max and we've got to support Henry Cavil. So the hashtag for me would be saying Henry Cavil for Man of Steel 2. Hashtag Henry Cavil Man of Steel or something like that. Get that trending, get that tweeting, and long live the Snyderverse. And for those people that don't like the Snyderverse, you have an option out there with the Matt Reeves Batman. Okay, They can start other films like Aquaman and Shazam. But I don't see a problem. I don't see a problem with how they cannot still connect Suicide Squad, Aquaman and Wonder Woman to the Snyder Cut. Okay, you can still tell episode 2 of Justice League, and you can still tell episode 3. And for those people that are obsessed with timelines and connecting Wonder Woman 2 to Justice League 2, don't. Let's just read it as a story, because we have different comics, Action Superman, Man of Steel Superman, all happening at the same time, different stories. Okay, let us know what you think in the comments below. Share this video, please. Let's get the word out there. Let's get Henry Cavil for Superman 2. Oh, and I just need to press this button.